Out. Greetings and salutations. We have our crownpreneur for the day. One of my mentees who I love oh so dearly. She's super ambitious, but she has an amazing journey into entrepreneurship that I think we should definitely highlight. Yes, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
How you feel?
Feeling good, feeling good. Glad to be a part of this.
Okay, I'm glad to have you because you done taught me some stuff in this journey, but I think your story and your journey that you share so transparently should be a part of this. So I'm glad you said yes. I'm gonna get into reading this bio. Yasmin Garrett is someone who identifies as a full-time entrepreneur as well as a multimedia creative. She currently runs Nazira Love Boutique, an online boutique she started when she was 16 years old, as well as doing other creative things on the side as far as YouTube content and social media work. Yasmin's main focus or her whys are as follows: to create generational wealth, to fully support herself and her family, and to be able to give back to her community. Those three things are what keeps her. Yes, I'm super excited to have you. So you started at 16. You started your
Yes.
journey at 16. So let's talk about that because when people potentially see you on social media, or when I checked your last YouTube video stated how you had so much inventory. And
Mm.
people, the first thing they see is that. Tell us about the journey leading up to that from 16 all the way to recent.
So it literally was like, so I've always been into fashion for one. I've always been into fashion. I have sketchbooks of me designing clothes from when I was like 8, 9, 10 years old. So I've always been into just fashion in general. So when I was 16, my family was actually moving from Florida to Texas, but I wanted a job, but I didn't want to start a job and have to quit. So I was like, okay, what can I do? Like, I want to do something. And so I was like, well, I'm just going to start my own online boutique. No money, had no idea what I was doing. I don't even think I told my parents. I think I just like researched on Google and just did it. And I was one of the very first like Instagram boutiques out there. This is when like I started in 2013. I think Instagram had just went public like a year or two before. So people were like just getting on Instagram, but it wasn't as popular as it was now. And so I would literally like go to AliExpress because I had no money. So I would go to AliExpress. I would take their pictures off of AliExpress because they were like my vendors. I would put their pictures on my website, and then people would just order through my website. And when they ordered through me, I would order it off of AliExpress. And so I would tell people like, it's gonna take 2 to 6 weeks to get your stuff. But like online shopping back in 2013 wasn't as popular as it is now. So people didn't really, people were just really, I feel like, getting into online shopping and things like that. So that's what I did for a while. And then I realized that like that just wasn't working. Like ordering, because like AliExpress, like those vendors, they would use other boutique pictures. So like it would look like I was stealing content. It was just a lot of just drama. And so I then like saved up some money to get my first actual piece that I had in store, and well, in my house. And that was like this comic print dress. And then I been from there, I would still use AliExpress sometimes, but I was really trying to have inventory on hand. So sometimes I would have to wait to get that inventory. And then I was 17, I actually got a job at Waffle House. And so I would use my checks from Waffle House to get inventory for my store. And so I pretty much did that all throughout college. I would work, then get inventory, because once I got to Paul Quinn, I never used like vendors any like I never used AliExpress anymore. It was more so having everything on hand because I was at college, everyone wanted clothes, and so they would just come to my dorm room and buy clothes. And so I would take like my money from, I used to work at Waffle House twice a month, every weekend. And so every other weekend. And so I would take that money, like, buy food, whatever. And then the rest of the money would go to inventory. and I would just keep doing that cycle over and over again.
So I want to talk about that because although you had your business since you were 16, of course, I didn't know you when you were 16, but when I first bought or tried to buy a piece from you, it was from me noticing you at Paul Quint. And when I went on your website, it was like all these other people that I know at Paul Quint. Like you used all of the resources available to you. So talk to us about that because your models are connections for Paul Quint. And in some of the pictures, I recognize the background. So I want you to share with people how you not having that, what Instagram may view, like the models that come from the magazine or the professional photographer. But I want you to encourage some people about using what you have and using literally what's in your hand.
Definitely. I think it's more so like I can sit here and I can make excuses on why I cannot get this done, or I can just figure it out and do it. And I feel like that's kind of was my mindset. I mean, being a college student, I was working, well, part-time. I was involved in numerous organizations on campus. You know, I didn't have money to pay for models. I didn't have money to pay for photographers. I didn't have money to do these big shoots. I barely had money to eat. So it's like I didn't have all of these resources. So it really was like, okay, and this is kind of something I started in high school. It was like, you know, a lot of girls go through that stage where they want a model. They like taking pictures. They like getting cute. They like all those things. And so I would literally just like tell my friends like, hey, I have new clothes coming in. I have new stuff coming in. Will you model for me? And they'll be like, sure. Like, why not? So bam. And I would pay them with like a free item or something like that. So it was more so like, okay, I can give you exposure on my website. I can give you pictures to post on Instagram. And I'll, you know, this is what I can give you in return if you take these pictures. And then when it comes to like the photography and stuff, majority of the pictures I take myself, even to this day, even now I take all the pictures on my iPhone. I've worked with a photographer like twice. And even then it was someone I knew who was just breaking into photography at the Quinn, trying to get more clients. And so it was like, okay, I'll tag you on every post. I'll shout you out if you take these pictures for me. And so it was more so like connecting with everyone that I knew and basically being like, I need to get a job done. I need a task done, but I can't offer you money right now, but here's what I can offer you in exchange. And then like all the pictures for the first, what I think my freshman, sophomore, and junior year, all of those pictures were taken on campus. It literally was like, okay, this background's cute. Let's take pictures here. And it was more so like, I kind of went with the mindset, like, I didn't know if I even had permission to, but it was more so like, you know, I'm not going to ask permission. I'll rather just say sorry later. So,
Well, I think that's a good point because that's what we are taught at the school to don't ask for permission. You know, it's best. How the quote say? How does the quote go? It's best to ask for forgiveness than permission, or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So we were taught that, and you actually lived it. You know, and I think that was really good because it became a generational thing to where, although I had graduated, if I needed something to wear, I'm looking online like, well, everybody else wearing it, so I need to be wearing it. So I think that was really good. So talk to us about the next thing I wanted you to talk about is your business growth because you experienced a layoff, and in experiencing that layoff, it was just your business, but your business it looks like it went off to a whole nother level. So talk about that process and what has that transition been like for you?
So I actually closed the store down last year. My senior year, I really didn't have time to like focus on it. I mean, it was senior year of college. At that point, I was working two jobs, and then had an internship on campus, and I was still involved in numerous organizations on campus. So I was always busy. It was always, even if I wasn't doing something, there was something that probably should have been getting done. That's how busy I was at that point. And so I needed to make money and to prepare for life after college. And so I kind of put the store on the back burner. Last year in August is when I started my first job post grad. And I was like, okay, now that I have a job, I moved into my own place in November. I felt like life was on the up and up. I was like, I want to restart my store in January. And so my apartment, actually, I had the month of December rent free. And so what I was doing, I was paying my rent up a month. So for December, I paid January's rent. So in January, I was like, I'm gonna take this rent money and I'm gonna put it, invest it back into the store to buy all new inventory. So I spent like $1,200 or more on new inventory. So the last week in January, I got pulled to the office and they laid off my whole department. And so I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do? Like, I have enough money to pay rent for February, but that's it. I just invested my extra money, my extra rent money into my business. So February 7th was officially my last day. And so I literally was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do. And so thankfully, because I was like there for a certain amount of time, I was able to get like a severance package. And so it literally everyone was like, get a job, hurry up and find a job. Everyone was sending me all these job applications. And I really was just sitting there talking to God. And I'm like, God, I feel like it's time. Like I've been doing this for almost 7 years. Like I feel like you've set me up where I'm able to pay my rent up a couple months, pay my car note up a couple months. I'm able to, buy inventory. And because I think the month of January, I did like $600 in sales. And so I was like, people are excited that I'm back. So that's what I did. I really just started focusing on the store, but I was starting to get a little nervous. So I think 2 weeks after that, I applied for a part-time contract position with the restaurant to do marketing for them. I started March 1st. 2 weeks later, the restaurant was shut down because of COVID. And so I never even received a paycheck. And so at this point, I'm like, all right, God, I'm going to just listen. I'm going to stop being hard headed. Like, I'm going to just listen. Like, and ever since then, that's all I've been doing is just listening and setting goals and really just working. And I mean, it's not hard. It's scary because it's like, even though I had a cushion, like that cushion ran out months ago. Like cushions don't last long forever. So it's like, it's really just keeping the faith and hard work, because I'm a firm believer that faith without works is, it doesn't exist. It's dead. Like I'm a firm believer in that because it wasn't more so just trusting and believing in God, but it was more so like doing the work. Like I was up for hours, redoing websites, hiring models, taking photo shoots, editing pictures, picking inventory. I have taken a large chunk of my cushion and just thrown it into the business and been like, you know what? I'ma just see what happens, like, and God has made a way that each month, thankfully, I'm able to pay rent. But it really was more so just like, I'ma just see what happens. I'ma see what happens when I completely and fully not only trust in God, but trust in myself. And I think that's one of the biggest things. Like we can trust in God all day long, but do you truly believe in yourself that this is gonna happen? And every single month that I've set a goal, I've crushed it. And so it's just more so just like putting in that work. Now I have an office space. I just hired an assistant part-time and things like that. So we're really growing and growing at a rate that I couldn't even imagine to grow. Like it's really crazy. I sit here in amazement on a daily basis. Like what is happening?
Because now you're at a different level now. Like you have
Mm-hmm.
literally went from starting the business to ordering stuff off AliExpress to then going to college, stopping the business,
Mm-hmm.
working a job full time, only to get laid off. Then to be you, it was almost like you were forced to work on this thing that God had
That's what
given
it
you.
was. That's really what I felt like. I really, because like even like when because I was only on that job for 6 months. And so I was so like flabbergasted because we did our numbers, like we did everything right. Everything was great. And it literally was like we're cutting your whole department. And it was like, okay, I had just moved out on my own for the first time. I was in this luxury, well, I'm still there, but I'm in this luxury apartment. You know, it wasn't like I went for the cheapest apartment I could find. I was like, no, I want luxury. I'm in this luxury apartment. You know, I'm accustomed to a certain amount of money each and every month because this was like my first salary position. I've been a server on and off for 5 to 6 years. So yeah, from 17 to 22. So I wasn't I'm used to, you know, if I need extra money, pick up a shift. I wasn't used to a guaranteed amount of money every 2 weeks. And so to me, I was living my best life. My bills was paid. I had paid off all my debt. And it's just so crazy how things work because before I moved into my apartment, I was like, I want to pay off all my debt with the exception of student loans. And so I paid off all my debt, all my credit card payments. I was behind on my car note, caught up my car note. I did everything. And so then I moved into my apartment in November. And so I felt like I had did everything the way I was supposed to. I had did everything right. And then it was like, JK. And I was laid off. And it really was, and that's one of the things that like a lot of my mentors, including you, told me, like, you know, everything happens for a reason, and it just seemed like it was divine timing. And so I've just been sticking to that. Like, all right, well, I don't have time to sit and feel bad and feel sad and worry. I have to put in work. So that's what I've been doing, is putting in work.
Putting in work, and it's paying off.
Definitely.
It is definitely paying off. So one thing I wanted to talk about was, although you had your own business,
Hmm.
you still served as
Hmm.
a waiter. How has you working at a place like Waffle House helped you in regards to your business?
I actually like just talked about this on Instagram yesterday, because I feel like people, when you think about a server, especially in a place like Waffle House, it's like, how can that teach you anything? But I was in positions where I was very close with both of the managers that I had at Waffle House, extremely close with them. And so I would end up doing these manager tasks. I would count the drawers, you know, I would do inventory. I would worry about food costs. I would help with scheduling. I would do all of these things because they trusted me with these things. And so I would help them doing their job, basically, even though I was just a cook or just a server. And so when I thought back on this, I was being prepared to run my own business. Even though I had already had my own business, I didn't know what I was doing, but I was being set up because they wanted me to go into management. When I was working for Waffle House, they wanted me to go into management. They were like, you know, after you graduate, you have a job. Like, I literally was told, after you graduate, you automatically have a job. You can graduate this week, next week we'll send you to Waffle House University. The following week you'll have your own store. It was more so that like it was set up where I could go back now and be like, okay, I want to be a manager and I can have my own store. But I knew that that isn't what I wanted. I didn't want to be a manager at Waffle House. And there's nothing wrong with it. They make great money. I just knew I wasn't passionate about the food industry in that way. I loved being a server. I loved that aspect. But on the back end, I just didn't like it. So but it prepared me for things that I do now, because now I have to deal with customer service. And if you can deal with customer service in the food industry, you can deal with customer service anywhere.
Everywhere.
Anywhere, because people, when it comes to their food, you just deal with a whole different type of breed of people in the restaurant business. And so when I have issues with my business now, it's easy for me because I've encountered people cussing me out in my face. I've encountered, you know, people throwing food. I've encountered these things. So now it's like, okay, whatever, let's figure it out. Let's solve the problem. When it comes to inventory management, it's easy for me to do inventory management because I've had to count every single item in a whole like back room full of things like hot sauce and pickles and waffle batter. Like, I've done these things. So when it comes to clothes, it's like, okay, whatever, you know. When it comes to like money management, it's easy for me to be like, okay, this my money is coming in, this my money is coming out. When hiring my first person on my team, it makes me excited to think about the characteristics that I want and what I don't want, the kind of relationship that I want with my team and what I don't want. I want to be able to have this friend role, but at the end of the day, I'm the boss, and these type of relationships that I want to have. And so I feel like it truly was a humbling experience. And even this weekend, a restaurant that I do marketing for, they're short staffed. And I was like, well, I'm a pretty experienced server. I'll be a server. And they were like, what? Like, why would you serve? And I was just like, why not? Like, why not? I know what I'm doing. Oh, sorry. There's like a pop-up on the screen.
Okay.
Why not? I know what I'm doing. And so that's more so like where it has come to. And so I just feel like to be a great leader, you have to know how to serve. And that's kind of just my mindset and how I think about things.
And you never let hey, me having my own business stop me from being able to serve. And
Mm-hmm.
as you were talking, I was thinking about Jesus. Although he was the Messiah and he came to save us, he still was serving. He
Mm-hmm.
came to also teach us how to be servant leaders. So I think that that's important, because as we go into entrepreneurship, sometimes we can get this high horse about ourselves. And although other people may not see it, it could just be your heart posture.
Yeah.
But you can still see that. And I think by you as being a marketing person to say, hey, I could come in and serve, it caught them off. But also it shows that I'm not too high up in my role to come and serve with y'all and stand by y'all side to side.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's important, not just as entrepreneurs, but as people that are navigating corporate as well. So I appreciate you for sharing that. So, a few things. There are transferable skills no matter what industry you work in. They will help you thrive in your business. Yes, it's a living testament to that. Yes, I want you to share with people how can they connect with you, and then where can we shop it. And I'll also drop the links as well so people can connect with you and shop.
Definitely. So all of my social medias are Love Yasmin XO. So LOVEYASAMEEN XO. I now have a personal business email just for myself, which is Yasmin at loveyasmin.com or loveyasminxo.com. I'll send the correct one to Tiedra.
Well,
I'll
make
send the
sure you
correct
have the
one.
correct one.
I can't remember which one. So you can definitely connect with me there. And that's my Twitter, my Instagram, my YouTube are all Love Yasmin XO. My business is Shop 90 Love on Instagram and Shop 90 on Twitter. And the website is shop90love.com. We do new arrivals every single Friday at 8 p.m. Central Time. So there's always new stuff on there, always new clothes and accessories. So yeah.
I got this shirt from the website.
Oh
I
yeah,
really,
there's shirts on there too. I don't think you can see
oh,
it, but there's
oh
shirts on
yeah, that's really cute. I probably need to get that one too.
there.
Okay, and my last question for you is, what does it mean to be crowned for you?
To be crowned for me, it kind of takes me back to the ethos of our institution that the needs of the community supersede the wants of the individual. I'm a firm believer in we over me, and I feel like that is kind of how I lead my life. Everything I do, I feel like is for someone else, and not in the sense that I put others before myself, but more so in the sense that like this is bigger than me, this is greater than me. And I just feel like that is my definition of living a crowned life. I have I have a family that I love and I adore, and one of my greatest dreams is to be able to give them whatever they want, and to just be able to be like, hey, we're all taking a trip here, or hey, we're all doing this, or to be able to go to my alma mater and give students whatever they want, to give out scholarships, to walk into a Walmart and pay everyone's groceries. Like these are the things that motivate me to just give back. I feel like I've gone through things in my life, and I have been in places in my life where if it wasn't for other people, I wouldn't be where I am here today. If it wasn't for people feeding into me, believing in me, pushing me, I wouldn't have made the accomplishments that I have done. And so I feel like that is how I live my life, or live a crowned life, is making sure that I know what my whys are, and that it's for the betterment of society in a whole. It's for the betterment of people around me. I feel like I'm not winning if those around me aren't winning either. That doesn't make sense. I think about, inviting all my friends to dinner and giving them all 5K to start what they want to do. Like, these are the things that motivate me.
Make sure you invite me to that dinner too.
Definitely, but these are the things that motivate me. I feel like that's honestly what just keeps me going, is thinking about others and thinking about how I can benefit everyone, and just being able to give. I'm really big on giving. I'm really big on just, I don't know, it's just hard to describe. And it's not even for like, not even to give for the accolades, but just to give just because it's there. Just to give just because I can, And this is something that I've been like since I was a child. Like, I've just loved being able to give to people, give people things. I'm very quick to be like, oh, you need this? Oh, okay. Like, and I think that's just the way that I was raised. My family has always, always has instilled in us that you give if you can. And so it was so interesting when I went to an institution who had the same ethos, and it kind of was just like, I feel like my life is truly divine. It's truly lined up in every sense, because I've always been around people who preach the same thing, that you give. And so I just feel like that's how I live my crowned life. I mean, the whys in my bio are literally, when people ask me why am I in business, so are 3 things that I give off rep, because they're true to my heart. This is bigger than just clothes. It's bigger than just accessories. This is bigger than just, making money. It's what I want to do with that money. It's what I want to do with the community. I give back on our stores, Instagram and Twitter, all the time. We donate, we give out gift cards, we give out free clothes. We give out, when during the pandemic, we had a quarantine collection, and all of those proceeds went back into the community. And so it's just, that is why I'm here, not just for myself, but to give and to do the betterment of society in a whole. So I feel like that answered the question. I hope so.
No, it definitely did. And I love that. I love you. And I'm so very proud of you, because we see on Instagram, especially, we see so many entrepreneurs, and they talk about entrepreneurship as a ways and means to just making money. They never share their why. And I'm a true believer of the fact that your why will sustain you when there is no money. Your why will keep you going. Your why is that oil. So I wanted to personally invite you, but also personally thank you for coming, because when you and I talk, you're very transparent on your journey of, yes, I'm doing this, and yes, it looks good, but I'm tired, or
Yeah.
this is just crazy. So I think that that's important, because I think that's what the world lacks. We see all the glamour, but we don't see what it costs, or what it is costing that person to get that glamour. And that's why I feel like the audience and the world need this, because entrepreneurship is not easy, and it's not for the faint at heart. You just said how you're on, or you're up late at night, or sometimes early in the morning. So I thank you for sharing that. I thank you for being the servant leader that you are, because I now have cute clothes to wear in my house, but also on the beach when I can. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you. Know that I'm so very proud of you. I'll probably be shopping soon for another little item. Thank you for being with us, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I truly appreciate it.